Most people get their first $1,000 and it's gone within a week. A new phone case, a night out, maybe a treat-yourself splurge that felt earned after a rough month. But there's a very specific, almost boring pattern in what actually wealthy people do the moment they get their hands on that same $1,000. And it has nothing to do with willpower, discipline seminars, or some secret investing app nobody's heard of. Welcome back, Eluxer, to the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. The first $1,000 isn't really about the money, it's a test. It's the first real decision point in someone's financial life where their habits either start compounding for them or start compounding against them. Most people never even notice they're being tested. They just see a number in an account and let their emotions decide what happens next. So today, we're breaking down exactly what the financially literate do differently the moment that money lands in their account, and why the size of the number matters far less than most people assume. The first thing they do is nothing for at least 48 hours. Impulse is the enemy of wealth. The people who build real money give themselves a mandatory cooling off period before any spending decision above a certain threshold. Not because they lack self-control, but because they understand something most people don't. The version of themselves that just got paid is emotionally compromised. They're relieved, excited, maybe a little proud. None of those are good states to make a financial decision in. So they wait. Not forever, just long enough for the dopamine to settle and the rational brain to come back online.
Next, they separate the money before they can touch it. A portion goes untouchable, moved into a separate account the same day, before rent, before groceries, before anything else gets a chance to claim it. Not because they don't need the rest for living expenses, they absolutely do. But because money that's easy to access is money that eventually disappears. It doesn't disappear all at once, it leaks. A subscription here, a delivery order there, a small purchase that felt harmless in the moment. Out of sight isn't just a phrase, it's a mechanism, and the wealthy treat it as infrastructure, not advice.
They don't ask, what can I buy? They ask, what can this become? This single reframe changes everything downstream. $1,000 sitting in a checking account is just a number, static and depreciating quietly against inflation. The same $1,000 put toward a skill, a certification, a small revenue-generating tool, or an index fund starts acting like a second employee, one that works for free, forever, without complaint, without a salary, and without ever asking for a raise.
They look for asymmetry. This is the part almost nobody teaches, and it's the part that actually separates people who build wealth from people who just have good intentions. Rich people aren't necessarily smarter investors than everyone else. They're better at finding situations where the downside is capped and the upside isn't. $1,000 into a course that could meaningfully increase their income has a completely different risk profile than $1,000 spent on a night out they won't even remember in a week. Same amount of money, wildly different math, and almost nobody stops to actually run the comparison.
They resist the urge to look rich before they are rich. This might be the single biggest difference between people who turn $1,000 into $10,000 and people who turn it into zero again and again for years. The instinct to signal success, the shoes, the bag, the dinner nobody actually needed, quietly kills more first opportunities than any bad investment ever could. It's not that spending is inherently wrong, it's that spending to appear successful and spending to become successful pull from the exact same limited pool, and only one of them pays you back.
They treat the first $1,000 as proof of concept, not a prize. If you made $1,000 once, the real question isn't how to spend it, it's how to make the process that generated it repeatable. Was it luck, or was it a system, a one-time event, or the beginning of a pattern? People who eventually get rich figure out which one it was, and then they scale exactly that, deliberately, methodically, without waiting for permission or a bigger number to feel legitimate. They pay attention to fees and friction, the parts everyone else ignores because they're boring. $1,000 sitting in the wrong account, taxed inefficiently, or slowly eaten by hidden charges loses real value while nobody's watching. Wealthy people obsess over the unglamorous details precisely because nobody else will. And that collective inattention from everyone else is exactly where the advantage lives. It's not exciting, it's not a hack, it's just paying attention when everyone else is tuned out. They talk to someone who already has more than them. Not to brag, not to ask for a handout, but to ask one specific, almost embarrassingly simple question. What would you do with this? The answer is almost never what a scarcity mindset would suggest. And that gap between how a broke mindset thinks and how a wealthy mindset thinks is worth far more than the $1,000 itself. Most people never ask this question because they're too proud, too private, or too afraid the answer will make them feel behind.
They don't wait for the right amount to start. A lot of people quietly convince themselves that $1,000 is too small to matter, that real investing starts at $10,000 or $100,000, that they'll get serious once they have more to work with. That belief alone is what keeps people poor long after they've technically stopped being broke. The first dollar invested teaches the exact same lessons as the millionth: patience, risk, timing, discipline. Waiting for a bigger number to feel ready is just procrastination wearing a strategy costume. So there it is. The difference between the poor and the rich isn't usually the first $1,000 itself. It's the dozen or so quiet decisions made in the 30 days after it arrives. Most people never even notice they're making those decisions at all. They just feel like normal life, right up until years later when one person has compounded their way into freedom and another is still waiting for the right amount to finally take it seriously.
Which one of these hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments. And if you know someone who just came into some money and could use this, do them a favor and send it their way before they spend it on something they won't remember. Oh, you're still here. Interesting. Here's your bonus fact. Most self-made millionaires can tell you exactly what they did with their first real windfall, down to the dollar, because the memory of that single decision is what they credit for everything that came after it. Thanks for spending some time with us, Elixir. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video.